Welcome, my friends, to the Prog Monster. This is a channel in which we talk about rock music, progressive rock, hard rock, heavy metal, all kinds of sorts of music. My name is Murph, and I am the host of this show. Tonight, we're doing an episode called Not What We Hoped For. So this is a show I do bi-weekly, pretty much. I have another show that alternates with it. This one's a bi-weekly show in which I pick an album that I do like. In some cases I like it a lot. Some cases I love it a lot. But for whatever reason, it doesn't, in my mind, it really didn't achieve what I hoped it would. So tonight, one of those albums that really is kind of an enigmatic album. But I want to discuss it tonight. And actually, part of the reason is I just like this album, so I want to discuss it too. So the album is Relayer by Yes. Yeah, it's one of those albums that, for people that like this kind of music, progressive rock, who are dedicated to progressive rock, as I am, this is one of those albums that's well known and well loved. But for the average person that maybe knows of these bands and listens to the songs here and there, maybe don't even know a lot of the progressive stuff, this is just an album they've never heard of. That's all there is to it. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about this album. Actually, I don't need my glasses. I'm so used to putting them on. So with this album, so during my Yes collection time, I started out with Drama. That was the first album I bought from them. And then my friend also bought the same album. So we both had it. We just loved it. We thought it was great. So we decided to start collecting some of the Yes stuff. So as we did back in those days, because we couldn't afford all of them, he would buy one, I would buy one, and we would listen to them. And he would cassette tape his album for me, and I would cassette tape mine for him, so that we both got two albums for the price of one, even though one was on a cassette. Yeah, it was kind of cheesy, but that's the way we did it. So we went backwards. The first two we got were Fragile and Close to the Edge. Now, I got Fragile, he got Close to the Edge. Then the next two we decided to do were Tormato and Going for the One. So he got Going for the One and I got Tormato, and that's hence the reason why I like Tormato so much better. Then we decided to go further back. So I got the Yes album and he got this album, Relayer. So at this point in time, we had Drama, Tormato, Going for the One, Close to the Edge, Fragile, and the Yes album. And 5 of those albums became masterpieces for me, with Going for the One not quite getting there. And then we got this album, and this was the first Yes album that I owned that I didn't like. I didn't like it. I thought it's weird. It's too far over on the left side, or too far extreme on that proggy side. And at that time, I didn't know the difference between prog and jazz fusion. I didn't even know anything about jazz fusion, to be honest. I just thought this was a weird album. So because he had bought it and I had got the Yes album, he taped it for me and it was on cassette. And then he taped it again for me on 8-track. I just never really listened to it much. And gradually I forced myself to listen to it more, because I kept reading how great this album is, how instrumentally it's their best, and all these things, that I just didn't get into it. It took a long time. I would say I was well into the 1990s when I really began to kind of start to listen to this a bit more. I had been listening to it all along, but it wasn't. I was kind of almost like trying to force myself to listen to it. Then, sometime in about 2007, 2008, this album began to really take hold for me, and I was liking it a lot, all of it, listening to it and thinking how great Sound Chaser was with the guitar, and how Soon, a part called Soon, which was on the song To Be Over. I thought that was fantastic vocal performance. And then after that, then I started getting into Gates of Delirium, which in many ways I think is one of their greatest epic long tracks. One of the greatest epic long tracks. Now I really love this album quite a bit. but it's still, I expected this to be a masterpiece like the other ones, and not only just be a masterpiece, but one that would rise almost to the top, and it still really hasn't done that. It still hasn't achieved the awesome sights that I set for it. As great as it is, and it is, it's one of those albums that's both in my estimation, an underachiever and not reaching the heights, and at the same time being underrated masterpiece. So it's underrated, but not reaching its goal at the same time. It's kind of a weird combo that I don't think very few albums I own have that combo. But still a fantastic album. I'm not taking anything away from it. I know many people love this. Some people put this in their top 2 or 3 Yes albums. I get it. I fully comprehend why you love it so much. It just never has quite reached that top yet. But as I have said, it's continuing to grow. And maybe it makes perfect sense for someone like me who takes quite a bit of time to appreciate prog albums. Even though I love them more than any other kind of album, it usually takes me quite a bit of time to get in. It took me almost 35 years to get into Three Friends, and it's only now starting to come along. This is the same thing with Relayer. There's you could even go and say the same thing with King Crimson's In the Court of the Crimson King. It took a long time to get going, but now I like them all. And and I suspect they continue to grow with me. And perhaps one day, this was 2 years now running. It was in the final group of albums that I had chosen to give a masterpiece to, and then at the last minute I decided against it, so it didn't get the masterpiece stamp of approval from me. But it's getting closer every year, and eventually it's going to make it, I'm sure of it, and then I won't be able to do it on a show like this. But for now, it still gets put in here. Fantastic album cover. Fantastic instrumentation on this album, probably among Yes's best. And there's a couple of live concerts with them playing Gates of Delirium live. Fantastic, just absolutely killer, But still, I just feel like it should be better than it is. So there you go. Yes's Relayer, not what I hoped for, but I hope that you understand that the reason we do this show isn't to pick on albums that we don't like. That's not the case. There hasn't been an album in this series since I started this show that I don't like. Many of them I love, but they're just, for my way of thinking, they aren't where I hoped that they would be. So anyways, have yourself a good evening. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell. If you want to make any comments in the comment section below, much appreciated. And we will see you next week with another episode of ranking the songs off an album. Yep, that's its turn next week. Take care and have a good one. Bye.